Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I've brought on another fantastic guest. But before we get to him, please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Just before we start with him, just remember, coming very soon on Kickstarter, the Oswald Chronicles. Well, the current sign-up page is up, so go sign up, go get yourself some stuff, and we'll talk more about that later. But without further ado, Mr. Rich Perotta, how are you, sir?
Hey, man, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Yeah. That makes me happy. Makes me very happy and pleased and all that other yummy jazz.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good as one can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so it's like it's there. But yeah, I can't complain. I'm doing pretty good. The campaign that I'm working on is steadily moving forward. I'm hoping it jumps up a little bit better over the weekend. It would be nice.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about that today, and I appreciate you having me on again after rescheduling me twice because of everything else. Hello, Niobe.
Yeah, that's Larry. What's up, Larry?
Hi, Larry. I know who he is. I know who he is.
Larry's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to try to get on Larry's show. Larry will help you out.
I'll see what I can do. If he'll have me, that'd be fine. Whatever I can get out there, because the first few days was a little bit odd. But anyway, let's forget about me. Let's talk about me.
Exactly. Let's focus on the positive. But
let's focus on the positive.
Before we talk about your campaign, though, I want to get to know you a little bit better. I want to get to know, like I know you were inker over at Marvel and DC for a while, right?
Yeah, for a long while. I was at Marvel for about 10 years. I started in the mid-90s. And I inked on just about every conceivable title you could think of, with the exception of Fantastic Four and Punisher. I think that's it, yeah. Hail, Hojo.
See?
Yeah, thanks, man.
Larry's cool people, bro.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, so what got you into it? Like, how did you, at what point do you were like, yeah, man, I want to ink? Or, obviously, did you want to come in as a pencil or you started inking? What was the deal?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to come in. You see, where I went to school, the art quality wasn't all that high. That included me, but I thought I was among the best. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. I got an internship at Marvel, and when time came, what happened? I got an interview to work in the art corrections department, and they looked at my penciling portfolio, and it was trash, which I couldn't believe it was trash. My heart was broken. Right. But I've always had a fascination of who the inker was, especially when I would pick up issues with John Byrne as the penciler. Right. Like John Byrne would have one inker work on him on one book, and then Terry Austin on another. And I noticed how different the polish was. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is the same artist, but they look different. So I was wondering what an inker was, and I was fascinated by it. So after I was told, yeah, you're not going to make it here as a penciler just yet at all, according to them, I was like, okay, what about inker? And they're like, okay, here's a test. Let's see what you can do. And I did it. And they're like, let's try you one more time, fix this and about 5 other things. And I did. And the person in charge, Steve Geiger, who was the head of that department at the time, he told me that, wow, at least you listen. Okay, that's great. Let's do this again. And then February 1st, 1994, I got hired as a staff artist at Marvel for a year. Nice. And I honed my skill, as well as becoming a background inker for the immortal Keith Williams. I did that for a couple of years. And then Marvel hired me to do a bunch of freelance starting from 1996, and the work just built up from there. And around 2004, most of the editors that I was working with, they moved on to greener pastures. So I didn't get any work for a while. And then in 2010, I got the bug to jump in again, which was great. And I got a job at DC Comics. And I was there from 2010 to 2012. And it was right around that time where I just said to myself, you know what, that's it. I crossed that Rubicon. I climbed that mountain. I worked for both the top two as an inker. I'm good. But now what do I do? I for a year straight, I decided to just dig in and hone my penciling skills a lot. I just dug in. I drew every day, no matter what I did. And I studied film. I studied perspective. I did a lot of that myself. And then I put out a portfolio to the indie market, and I got hired to do an anthropomorphic comic. And it just kept on going from there. And then in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, I found out that I had cancer. Fun. And they didn't know where it was in the beginning, which really sucked. Because they had the MRI and the PET, and all that, the iodine blood, whatever thing is supposed to be. It's supposed to be radioactive, which is great, But sometimes that happens every once in a while. And they did find it, but during that time, I wrote and drew my very first graphic novel series called The Incantessi, and I wound up drawing it while I was undergoing cancer treatment. And it was my first successful campaign. And then I drew the second issue, and then I noticed I did it a little bit too fast, and I noticed that it was a little bit, it succeeded, but I didn't like the direction it was going, so I pushed it to the side. And now I came up with a new book, which I think is better in a lot of ways, and it's the art's a lot better. The story, I think, is a little bit more concrete. And it's the campaign that I have right now that I'm going, and it's my new favorite thing. It's called The Roaring. Yeah, it's a book about a group of flappers, three of them, whose sole purpose is to...
Rich,
I'm sorry.
We're premature. Premature. Got a lot of time to fill. I want to talk about you for a while. But we will get to your book, trust me. No,
I apologize. I'm a little excited, I have to admit.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Trust me. We're going to talk about The Roaring. We're going to talk about all that stuff. Trust me. But I want to dig in a little bit on you, man. Because here's the thing. You have this history. You have a rich history at Marvel and DC, right? And as an indie guy, I find it fascinating. The process that they use. I have a process. You have a process to do independent comics. Everybody has a process, right? But the process over the big companies always fascinates, right? So here's a question for you, man. Who was the kindest editor you've ever encountered over there?
Oh, God. Tom Brevoort.
Tom Brevoort? Okay. Cool.
Tom Brevoort. He was always patient with me. He kept me working for years, that guy. I worked for him. I think I inked, excuse me, I inked about 20 pages. 20 different books for this man. He would keep sending me all sorts of stuff. He would keep throwing me pages, keep throwing me work and all that. And he even had an opportunity to give me a series, but that got canceled, unfortunately. But I always worked with him for a good 6 out of the 10 years I was at Marvel, easily. And he was great. He was great. I don't know. I think he's still there. I'm not sure, but he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's one. I think he's like right behind the EIC. Like, I think there's Sapolsky, and then I think Tom is right under him.
Sapolsky is the EIC?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay. Cool. No, I like CB too. I like CB a lot. I do like him. I think I like Tom a lot better. Right. As much as I like CB, I like Tom quite a bit.
No, I got you. But I've known CB for a number of years. So
I'm sure you have. No, I like him quite a bit. He kept me working too. Yeah. He kept me working too. So it's like.
Right. No, I got you. It's always a thing. Listen, man. I look at it like this: it's comparing A to A+, right?
That is true. Right? Exactly. It's like when Mike Hampton and Al Leiter were pitching for the Mets in 2000. They were both aces. Right. So it's like that's it. You can't really pick between the two of them because they're both fantastic.
Exactly. So
that is true.
So who was the strictest editor you ever worked with?
Oh Christ. I don't think I had a strict editor really.
All right, so let's move it like this.
I don't have a strict editor. I never did.
Who was the editor you got the best advice from?
The editor I got the best advice from? Tom Brevoort.
Okay.
Tom Brevoort. Yeah. But I didn't get much advice from a lot of I got more advice from the artists that I would work with more than anything else.
Mm.
You know, and a couple of other inkers aside from Keith Williams.
Right.
So, I mean, that was the best learning thing for me. You know what I mean? That was the best part about it.
Gotcha.
So,
Who's your favorite penciler to ink over?
oh God, there's so many. Well, Jamal Igle is one of them, but he doesn't really truly need an inker. His pencils are so damn sharp.
Yeah.
You know, his pencils are like on point. You could scan them directly. God, who else?
Was that on Supergirl?
No, I wasn't. I inked him on the Ray Limited series.
Oh, okay.
That was in 2011, going into 2012. I've had pencilers that really rushed out the work, and I was really happy that they did because it showcased my ability as an artist instead of just someone who just traced over the line work.
Right.
So I can't say that I had a truly favorite penciler to work over. I mean, I worked over Pat Olive's artwork. God, who else? I did one page of George Perez's artwork. One.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's I never worked over a page of John Burns stuff or Paul Smith or any of my other idols. But I think Cully Hamner, a bunch of others. If I really sit down, Kari Randolph, penciler for the New Mutants. I think it was Kari Randolph. Yeah, Kari Randolph. A bunch of others.
Gotcha.
You know, a bunch of others. Yeah, man.
Now, what was the toughest lesson you learned during those days?
Toughest lesson: don't take too much work if you want to sleep.
Gotcha.
Never miss a deadline. Never ever miss a deadline.
Now on the average monthly during those days, what was your output looking like?
Oh, it was actually more than your average book.
Mm-hmm.
You see, a lot of times I was called in to. Sometimes I was called in to do a book. Sometimes I was called in to do a few pages here and there, and believe it or not, that turned out actually more lucrative than I would if I was on a regular book. Because like one day I went into the office, I dropped off about 6 pages. This is the beginning of voucher week, so I was all right. I got 7 pages from Tom Brevoort, and as I'm walking out the door, there's 2 offices down there. There's an editor, I think it's Mike Raitt. He was there in the early 2000s. He comes out and he goes, "Does anybody know Rich Perotta's phone number?" And I'm standing right there, and I go, "I do," you know. And he calls me in, and he gives me half of an issue of Cable, I think, or something like that. So it's like I just handed in like 6 or 7 pages of something. I got another. I got another 15. I got another 7 or 8, and then Mike Raitt comes out and he gives me like 12 pages. So it's like, and I have to do them all by Friday. So I essentially did an issue in a week, and then I kept on getting more work from the other editors. So I would probably average about 33 to 35 pages per month.
Nice.
Okay. Which can be a lot if your page rate is like 120 per page. And back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, that's pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah. I was having fun.
That's good, man. You making good money and enjoy yourself.
I was doing something that I love, and you can't put a price tag on that, really.
Yeah, no. Now, here's a weirder question. Now, in the aftermarket, because I've seen some editors, some artists even show up at a convention and they just throw a pile of pages on their table for sale, right? Because they got so much of it. They're like $25 a page. They don't care. They're like, just get rid of this stuff.
Yeah.
Did you do something similar like that, or did you sell through private vendors? Do you still have it all? Because Walter Simonson says he has like a bulk of like what he did during his career.
I don't have that many pages. Mm-hmm. Greetings, sinners. Just saw the ladies. Okay, cool. Nicely done. How are you doing today? I'm doing good, Marv. Thank you. Yep. What did I do? I sold a bunch of the pages. Mm-hmm. I also gave them away to close friends and a bunch of kids. Okay. Because they appreciate it a lot more than I would, because it's something that they'd never seen before.
Right.
And I would employ someone to spot blacks for me on pages, especially ones for Booster Gold I needed help with. My friend Mitch, when I was living in North Carolina, helped me out. And when I got those art pages back, I gave bulk of them to him. And from what I understand, he still has them hanging up on his wall to this day.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's like, whether I ink it or pencil a page, I'm always going to have them. And if I don't have those pages, the beauty of it is I can draw them again. It's just like, okay, I'll just do this time now. And, I mean, art's meant to be sharing. I mean, I did sell a bunch of pages. I mean, I made a pretty penny off those, and I would continue to do so. But as far as that's concerned, I mean, a lot of the Marvel stuff, half of it, I wound up just giving it away to friends.
Yeah.
It was like, here.
Okay. Nice. All right. That's good. That's good.
It is what it is.
What is like the one project that got away from you?
Captain Marvel.
Mm.
I was poised to ink over Chris Cross's pencils for Captain Marvel. And Tom Brevoort wanted me to do like at least a year on that book.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as we finished issue 35, the book got shit canned. Oh, I'm sorry, the book got canceled. I apologize. Right. And I only wound up doing one issue.
Right.
So that was pretty bad. I was like, damn it. But like shortly after, though, I wound up working on Thunderbolts. So that was pretty good. I worked on Thunderbolts for about 6 issues, something like that. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Listen, man. I mean, like I said, I'm sure it was a lot of fun. All right, now let's move on to the important stuff. Now, what got you? Now, do you find that your time at Marvel or DC, whichever one, prepped you for your indie life? Like, what were the good benefits you got from that?
The work ethic. You see, a lot of times as an inker, the books were always late. Right. That's not an industry secret. But Marvel books and mostly Marvel books are always late. Goodness gracious. And that's where I got the bulk of my work because I was always present. Mm-hmm. It's like I'd do a bunch of pages here and then I'd do a bunch more pages there because the books were always late. The pencilers would always hand these pages in late and then these had to be done. And, there'd have to be 10 pages inked by the next day in order to get the book out for production. Right. And what it taught me was how to improvise and overcome and adapt any type of difficulty when it came to finishing pages of artwork. And that's exactly what I did. I became a very, very good and very, very fast inker. And that, by proxy, has made me into a very good, very fast penciler. Nice. Because my hand, it's like muscle memory. If you do it enough, it's going to be subconscious, and that's exactly how I pencil. Mm-hmm. I pencil like I'm an inker because I make sure that I differentiate the line weights in the pencils. So that's pretty much it. It taught me speed. It taught me how to be clever when it comes to not so much shortcuts, but faster and better means of production. And creation, and it worked. It worked beautifully. So.
Are you still working physical media, or are you working all digital?
Oh, definitely physical media. Yes, all the pages that I draw are traditional, and then I take them. I simply just take a photo with my smartphone, as level as I possibly could, right. And then I import it into my computer where I digitally ink because that's where I can put all the special effects in, as well as the line weight. Because quite frankly, I really don't feel like buying any more ink. Unless it's for a commission and whatnot. So it's like, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Why don't you want to buy it? Is it just expensive or is it just a pain in the butt to go out to the store?
It's a pain in the butt to clean. It's like, I remember one time, and I will never forget this, and it still has me like making sure that whatever bottle of ink I use is highly secure to this day. I was inking backgrounds on an issue of Punisher 2099 where Keith Williams was the inker. It was the second page I've ever done in my entire life. And Stupid Rich had like a 45-degree angle table in front of him where he put the bottle of ink with just a little tiny bit of tape on top, right directly above the damn page. And as soon as I started the page and I dipped the brush into the bottle and I pulled that out, I knocked the bottle over and it decimated the entire page. And it was a Simon Colby page that I destroyed, and I'm mortified. I'm in tears. This is like 20-something-year-old me, and Keith Williams comes back, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, because I was like, holy crap, I'm about to get fired. I was like, damn. And Keith Williams, to his credit, God bless him, he's my second father. I love this man. He was very patient. He's like, trust me when I tell you I've done this before. We managed to get a blue line copy of the artwork, and we did it, and I finished it. I didn't get paid for the page, but that's just recompense for not getting fired. And so it was like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever you want, I'm good. But it was great. That was one of the best things one of the best teachable moments ever. I learned more as a background inker, as an artist on a whole, working for Keith Williams for about a year and a half, than anyone could ever possibly learn in an educational setting, unless you have grades and parameters and lessons that are similar to deadlines in comic books themselves, which is what they should do. Instead of like having an assignment where it's like, here, take it home for 3 months. No, take it home for 3 hours, maybe. It's like, yeah, get this done and make sure it looks really pretty. Because we don't, we'll get the kid next to you and pay him half of what we're paying you.
Right. Nice.
It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. I owe everything. I owe my entire professional career to Keith Williams. Yeah. He's the immortal Keith Williams. I'm sorry?
Are you still in touch with him?
Absolutely. We not as much as we did when I was younger, because I had to report to him all the time. But I still talk to him every so often. He's still he'll always be a very important person in my life. I finally met his son, who was not born when Keith and I last worked together. And his son's like 20 at this point, so I'm like, God, time. So it's just like, but he's still the same charming man. He's still devilishly handsome, brilliant, lights up a room wherever this man goes. He's the best part of the whole thing. He really is. Nice. Can you tell that I like him a little bit?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. But it's good that you walk away with those fond memories from that time.
Yeah, he taught me everything that I know where no one else would even bother. Wow. And for someone to take me under his wing, someone he doesn't know from a hole in the wall, and give me the knowledge that he has obtained over, by that point, at least a couple of decades of work under his belt. Wow. He's teaching me everything that I needed to know. And from that, I got to this point. And that's, thank you, Keith. All
right, cool. Now,
yeah, man.
Now you rolled into Incantessi. You said you set it aside, right? And you're moving into the Roaring, right? Yes. So talk to me about the Roaring. Let me know about these beautiful women from the Roaring.
Okay, these beautiful women. These girls are a group of flappers who have lifelong friends, completely unbreakable bond. None of that catty crap. Right. These three girls have discovered that they have this exceptional mean streak and aggression amongst all of them, and while they all have their specific talents. And they've seen a lot of their friends get raped, killed, tortured, murdered by mobsters or anybody else who thought of them as, less than anything. And no one in the time period, in 1920, women just started voting. So it's like it took about 170 years of the United States to realize, like, hey, women can actually press a button to say they want to talk to this person, they want to vote for this person or that person. And they were still looked at like they were obviously less than men, which they're equal to men, not greater. Neither of the genders are greater. They both have their strengths. And I wanted to showcase that a little bit. And I also wanted to show, the depths of the sociopathy and the villainy that these girls have, regardless of how much they may love each other and how much they may have each other's back, and even if they're wiping out mobsters who are really evil to the core. You know, as an Italian American, I despise mobsters truly because they're disgusting. You know, they claim to have a code, but you know, they just kill. You know, they kill and they steal and they don't care. And despite the fact that these girls are wiping them out or trying to wipe them out, you know, they're not heroes in this tale. They're the villains. They are the villains because as they get bolder and as they get, you know, as stakes get higher, they become more reckless and more aggressive. You know, it's a cautionary tale, but we may yet see the villains win for a change.
We might. I'm sorry. Repeat that.
We may yet see the villains win for a change.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh yeah, I love it.
All right, here we go. Here's the campaign.
Yeah. There we are.
Do you want me to play this video?
Please do.
We're all alone, no chaperone, can't get our number. The world's in slumber, let's misbehave. There's something wild about a child that's so contagious. Let's be outrageous, let's misbehave. When Adam won Eve's hand, he wouldn't stand for treason. He didn't care about those apples out of season. They say the spring means just one thing to little lovebirds. We're not above birds. Let's misbehave.
All right, cool.
Not bad. I still need to learn some of the filters in Premiere Pro, but you know.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It does take a little while. It's a specialty in its own sake. But yeah, that's the video that I have. And there we are. And now here's the story. Mm-hmm. If you want to go back, yeah, I just told the story. Now, what I did, just for this show, and for anything else that I'm going to be doing any other place that I appear, these, if you can zoom in, I don't know if that's possible.
No, unfortunately, it's not. Not on
okay.
my.
Okay. These are interior pages of the artwork. These are the interior pages of the artwork. I draw them traditionally, and then I ink them digitally. And I love the way that the story is unfolding, and I took my time when it came to reading it. And this is what you can expect from any of the art that you see. You know, I mean, this is my best work. Now, yeah, okay.
No, it's looking really good, man. It looks really nice.
Thanks, man. Thank you, sir. It's very dynamic. I love the pacing and I love the violence. You know, I have a lot of fun with it. I mean, there's more pages underneath, but let's go to the next one if you want to do. Oh, but not that one. That one. Oh, yeah. No, the one above it. That one. This one. Oh, by the way, all the art pages, all the traditionally drawn art pages are available as rewards in case anybody wants them. If anybody loves that type of stuff. Now, I thought of this. I have this reward here where it's a 2-in-1. Whereas not only do you get a commission draw, if you're a woman and you want to be dressed as a really exotically sexy flapper against a background like the one that I'm showing you right now as the example on the left, what I do is I draw a mock cover of the person who decides to order this package. It's a 2-in-1. Not only do you get a fully penciled and inked commission that looks like a mock cover of the first issue of The Roaring, but you also get that same likeness and placed into the book in and of itself. So it's a 2-in-1, and especially when it comes to like how much some people charge just for the appearance in the book, I think this is an incredible bargain. So, you know, so there's that. And what else? I have announced the variant, the NSFW variant cover. Nice. It's right there. Yeah, and that one I had so much fun with. I wanted to push the envelope a little bit, you know, get to where how the girls are whenever they're having a really, really good time. Because in the 1920s, women truly, especially when they started voting, women truly started to express themselves. They were wearing slacks when all they ever did was wear long skirts. Excuse me. The dresses were rather revealing and very flashy. They had like tassels all over the place. They were very expressive with their dance, very expressive with their clothing, very expressive with their thoughts, their feelings, and their intelligence. And this happened. This was an ongoing thing, and it was one of the best decades, period, in the United States. Especially when it came to poster design or any type of design at all, or any type of stylistic look. You know, it's like they had airbrushing on. It looked like they had airbrushing on some of the posters when they didn't have airbrushes yet.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like such an amazing layouts and everything. And what my book is going to be based on, it's going to be based on the time period, but any type of graphic that I have that I'm going to use, I will use Art Deco when it comes to rendering anything. So it's like, this is some of the stuff that I have, and I absolutely enjoy it.
No, that stuff's looking gorgeous.
Yeah, and that's going to be a reward also. That's going to be included in a bunch of the rewards that I already have set up. And what you have here is the cast of the characters.
Right.
All right. The first one is the officer who's going to infiltrate the group. Her name is Sophie Grant, and you can see the description of her. Now, the person next to her is the Alphonse Liagatti. He is going to be an undercover mobster infiltrating Chicago. The gentleman next to him on the right is Captain Carter. I know it sounds redundant. He supports and will do whatever he can to make sure that Officer Grant is going to remain alive. Now you have the girls on the bottom. Here's where they are. Now the first one is Ruth Kitty Kill Alden. I think that's what it says. Yeah, Ruth Kitty Kill Alden. She is the de facto leader of the three girls. She's ruthless, cunning, brilliant strategist, and does not hesitate to act at all. Now, the one in the middle is the one that I have the most fun with. Her name is Dorothy Barlow. Is it Dolly Deadly?
Dolly Deadly. Yeah.
Dolly Deadly, yes. She is, if she ever gets into any type of scrum or anything, she is a complete sociopath. Does not care who gets hurt, is absolutely maniacal when it comes to anything, will die before she gives up. And the only person who can calm her down immediately is Ruth, because those are the two best friends that started. And then shortly after, this lovely lady over here, Ginny Thatcher, I believe. Yeah, it's Ginny Thatcher. Big brain, yes. She has a photographic memory, and she's deadly accurate with throwing knives. She loves them dearly, but she's a little bit different, a little bit more empathic than the two of them. Right. Which is weird because, you know, she does the same stuff that they do, you know, but there's things that over the course of the series she discovers about herself, and you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen at that point. All right, so now if you scroll down a little bit more, that's the actual original cover for chapter 1, for issue 1. I drew it, I penciled it, I inked it, and I colored it. And right over here, that's going to be part of this over here. I have 3 alternate covers, and it looks like I already got a bunch of them ordered. They all go together in a set, and it's all 3 girls, Ruth, Dorothy, and Ginny.
Nice.
And now if you want to take a look at more interior pages, you have some of these here. These are fully inked. A lot of them are, most of the pages are flatted. They're ready to go. I just got to color them in. You know, so, but yeah, this is the depth of how much work I'm putting into this. Okay, and right over here, you have a list of the rewards. I tried to do it as like stylistic as much as I possibly could. Oh, the one beneath it is yeah, that's the one that's, you know, no barriers on it. That's the reason why I was like, slow down a little, you know, but that's that right over there. And that's the not safe for work variant cover. Now, the art for that, the traditional art for that is also available as a reward, just like the cover is, just like most of the pages that are in there. And yeah, this is something that I love doing. And I cannot wait for the second issue, because the second issue, as good as this one's going to be, wait until you see the second one. And then the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, you know, whichever.
Right, right. Now, how many? Is it a limited series? Are you looking at as a like how many
It's
issues?
a limited series. So far, it's going to stop at 6. But I think if I mean, this is a tale that can continuously go depending on how well I do with it.
Right.
Like one way or another, I'm just going to keep going until the 6 issues are finished.
Mm.
But I'm hoping that this will pick up because I plan on releasing an issue every 3 months.
Right.
And I can do it because the pages are not going to be more than 24 or 26 pages per issue. I can easily do the 26 pages in a month, and then the coloring, and then everything else that needs to be taken care of within that span. If it's just me, I can do it.
Right.
And yeah, and over here on the side, you have a whole list of the rewards that are there. You have a whole bunch of varieties. I still have to put in the actual reward for the Not Safe for Work variant cover, but we're going to do that. And once we do pass the 2,000-pound threshold, I have already have in motion backer rewards if we reach either a certain amount or a certain amount of backers. So yeah, there's going to be a lot going on, and I'm very proud of this so far. I think, again, it's my absolute best work. The art, in my opinion, is second to none, and you're going to really enjoy the story because it's fast-paced, but it's not confusing. So yeah, and most everyone that I have shown out of the script or the pages to have said either this is your best work or I cannot. You better put out issue 2 immediately, or I'm going to kill you. Something along those lines.
Nice. All right, cool. Now, what have you found? Like, okay, you've done a couple other campaigns before this. Now, what do you find? What's the difference between those campaigns and this one? Like, what are you finding?
Well, this one started at a very particular time in my life, and it was like an out of left field thing. I'm not going to discuss it, but it was a personal out of left field thing that that happened right before I was supposed to launch it, and I did. And this one is the next time I have to think that the next time anything like that potentially happens, I should delay it no matter what.
Right.
Because I think if I had a better lead up to it, I would be more excited about it. Not that I'm not excited about it, but I think if I had a better lead up until the week before the campaign, I think there would have been a little bit more, stuff about it, to be honest with you.
No, I got you. Listen, man, you've been through a lot of rough stuff, but this is part of the healing process, getting over that, and
I am. Trust me when I tell you, I'm healing a lot better than I thought that I would. It's just like the timing. You couldn't have hit the target. You couldn't have hit the arrow in the apple better, as if you were right in front of it. That's how terribly efficient the timing was behind this launch. It's like, oh great, now I got to do this. Oh yeah, the campaign's launching in a couple of days. All right, excellent. I'm just like, So yeah, that was some fun stuff, man. But I'm okay, and I have a very clear vision, and I have a very clear mind, because the one thing in my life that has never walked or abandoned, or I've ever abandoned in my life, is my ability to draw, my ability to tell a story. This talent that I've had, this talent that I've had for a long time, has stayed with me all my life. And I've worked damn hard at it to make sure that I would cultivate it to get it to the level that it is now. And I'm not even close to being finished.
Right.
I will not let anything like what happened with me stop me from ever doing what I do, ever, no matter what it is.
No, of course not. Yeah, you never want to let anything like that slow you down.
No, I never will, and I never would.
No, like I said, it looks awesome.
Thanks, man.
So you got a 6-issue limited series. You're looking to get that done. I know you have your other series that you're working on. Are you going to be looking to go back to that after this?
I will. I'm going to go back to that sometime next year, because I've already written down the plot, and it turns out I have that character copyrighted. Oh. So yeah, in the United States. So it's like no one can copy it. It's mine, all mine. You can't. No one can take it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably, I may turn it into a young adult graphic novel and maybe simplify it a little bit and maybe make it a little bit more young adult or something along the lines in terms of style and production. Because I think it's better as a cautionary tale, you know, of what power can be in the hands of someone who has no idea how to use that power wisely. You know, it's a really good cautionary tale, in my opinion. So,
now,
yeah, I'm looking to explore it and finish this. I'm sorry, I'm looking to explore it and finish the series, the 4-issue series, sometime in late November next year.
all right, cool. Now, you're in Britain. How different is, I guess, the comic life out there? Like, how different are the shows in comparison to here in the States?
They're just as fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
They're just as fanatic. The indie market is far wider here than it is in the United States, much more, because they simply don't have Marvel or DC here.
Right.
There are comic book shops that shun carrying Marvel and DC books, to the point where I went to this one comic book shop in Nottingham, and this guy who owned the thing, the moment I said Marvel and DC, he looked at me like he wanted to squash me like a bug.
Wow.
He's like, "Oh, you're one of those Americans who work for Marvel and DC." And it's like this guy, he had nothing but indie books all over the place. And the moment I said Marvel and DC, he hated me. So that was my fault. I should have kept my mouth shut, but I didn't know, you know. It's just like, all right, now I'm screwed, but that's okay.
Well, you know, you show us, but I'm doing indie comics now, guy.
Yeah, you know, I didn't care what he thought of me at that point. I was like, whatever, man. You know, if you can act like this with me, that's on you.
Right.
You know, but you know, whether I work for Marvel, DC, or Zenescope or myself, they go to church. They are not that bad. Yeah, well. Anyway, very cool. Well, thank you, Marv. And yeah, that's essentially what I'm just doing.
Now,
you know,
in Britain, have you been on the continent to any of those shows? Maybe in Paris or any of those?
Oh God, I wish. No, I don't know. There's one coming up in November. I'm not sure if I'm going to make that one. I'll find out very soon, because my goal is to stay here in the United Kingdom, but I may have to return to the States, which would be fine, because then I get to meet everyone that I've gotten in contact with over the last 2 years. And that's like 30, 35 people strong. And I love all you guys. I'm like, yes, I must hug all of you when I see you. And it's going to be really great. If I do have to come back to the States, it is what it is.
Right.
At some point or another, if I want to move back to the United Kingdom, I will. But we're going to take it one step at a time. I already have things in motion. We'll see what happens. I have a lot to plan. I have 3 years left on my visa. I mean, 3 months left on my visa. And we'll see where we go. But wherever I go, I'm still going to do this. It doesn't matter where I am. I could be in Nepal or Palau. It doesn't matter. Or the North Pole, if it's still there. Right. You know, it's just like, I'll draw wherever I need to draw, because that's just who I am. I'm a storyteller.
Now, despite the troubles that you've been through, what's the allure of being in Great Britain? Like what attracts you? Being a Brooklyn guy, you know, what brings you, you know, made you want to live there?
The history. The history and the architecture, and being in another country and having to learn, through good or bad, how cultures differ, even if the language is the same. I mean, there's subtle differences. If you're here for a visit, you don't really pay that much attention to it, because you're here to see the sights. You're not here to go to a local. You're not here to go to a local library or anything like that. But if you live here for an X amount of time, there are certain social mores and social standards that are unspoken. You know, that there's the sense of humor is different here than it is in the United States. Right. The way that people talk about their issues is vastly different. Like, if someone doesn't like another person here, they will they'll pretend to be nice, and then they'll talk. They'll be very, very mean to that person behind their back, and they hold it. It's very passive aggressive. There's a lot of gaslighting in it, which I find funny because I could destroy that. And yeah, it's very different. Like certain people that you and I know, a very, very short woman who lives in New Orleans, who's like 4 foot nothing, and like she would most likely, if anybody decided to sod her off, yeah, there'd be a body count here in Britain, and not the good kind. No, the things that I have heard people say about other people, if that was, hey Carlos, if that was said to our beloved friend, yeah, it's time you got to walk away from the radioactive blast that would occur at that point. No, you don't want to mess with women in the United States, really. It's the truth. You can't help it.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Rich, we've been at this for a while. We're almost
Yes.
done. We're not done just yet. All right.
We're not? Oh, man. Okay, good.
We got some goofy. I got some goofy questions for you. All right.
All right, let's do the goofy. Oh, the goofier the better. I don't care if they're raunchy, just throw them, please.
Now, but before we get to that, though, please let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
Okay, you can find me on my Facebook channel. It's just look up Rich Perotta, and if you see a black and white photo of me with sunglasses looking like an audition photo for Saturday Night Live, then that's me. So send a friend request because I love engaging and meeting people. You can also find me on Twitter at Greystoke20, GREYSTOKE, the numbers 2 and 0. And that's where I'm on Twitter. And you can find me on my YouTube channel, which I've recently renamed. I love this part. I recently renamed it. I wanted to make it a little bit more serious than my previous moniker, The Richness. You know, I was like, well, that's a little bit, now I'm a little ostentatious, you know, because I just had my birthday, and I'm like, yeah, it sounds really cool, but you know, I'm gonna grow up a little bit. And it's no longer The Richness. It's called R. Perry Artworks. The Perry at the last name of it is a derivative of my last name. That's really all it is, just a shortening of my last name. That's it. And I'm gonna be a little bit more serious when I do go live. Like I will definitely have guests. When I get settled, I'll have a station where I will definitely draw all day, and you know, go live showing what I do, and you know, I'll build from there, because in my previous arrangement, I wasn't really able to do so, despite, you know, saying that I'd be able to do so. I wasn't able to do so because, you know, that's the promise when anybody meets an artist, you know, so they think that people think they know what they're dealing with when they get together with an artist, and it's like, yeah, it's not what you think. But yeah, as soon as I get settled, I'm going to be doing a lot more live shows, and I'm going to keep going with the roaring. Even if this doesn't make the Kickstarter, I'll restart another one with a smaller goal because I want to put it out. It's a fantastic story. The art looks really good. And I put my heart and soul into all this, and I want to make sure that I get all these issues out, and I'll do it one way or the other. It's a really good, you know, like I said, I don't give up. I never give up.
So if you don't mind me asking, and even if you do, I'm going to ask anyway. How ancient did you turn?
I'm 54 years old.
I'll be that in November.
I still look good, so I don't give a damn what anybody says. You know, but
that's it, baby. That's it.
Yeah. So I want to hear these questions. What are these silly questions?
All right. Let's begin. I ask these everybody. So I'm gonna switch it up for you for a little bit. If you had the choice of any artist of your choice to ink, like let's say you got a guest penciler to pencil a cover for you, right? Who would you want to ink over?
Paul Smith.
Your work, Paul Smith. Nice.
Oh, my pencils and someone else's inks?
No. You're inking somebody else's pencils.
Oh God, Paul Smith, without a question. Paul Smith, he's a great Doctor Strange X-Men artist. Leave it to chance. Oh my God, this guy is the greatest storyteller in comics that I have ever seen in my entire life. His panels flow, his His figures and his elements in the pages are simple, yet they have so much weight and depth. To me, he's the ultimate comic book artist because he knows how to tell a story. Every single panel is engaging. It leads to the next panel. It flows better than water, and I started drawing like him when I was like 12 because I love that style. I hope to God I meet this man in person and give him a big bear hug, and hopefully I won't crush his ribs when I do so. But yeah, that's the person that I would die to ink over.
All right, nice.
That's the person.
You brought it up. Who would you like to see ink your work?
Who would I like to see ink my work? Oh my God. It's not that many. There's not that many that I would go for. I mean, if I can I pick a top 5?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, let me pick a 5. Keith Williams, that's one, obviously.
Yeah.
Bob Almond.
Nice.
It's number 2. He taught me too. He taught me a few things too. Klaus Janson. Good God. Klaus Janson. Who else? Mike Mignola. He started out as an inker first.
Right.
That's right, he did. And Al Milgram.
Okay.
Al Milgram.
Fair enough. All right, now you've already been at these places. So if you got like let's say they called you up to the big companies again, and you got the golden ticket, and they say, Rich, whatever property you want to work on, whatever IP you want to work on, doesn't matter, Marvel, DC, Image, doesn't matter, Dark Horse, it could be whoever. What would be the thing you'd want to do?
Oh God. That's a very good question because there are so many nuances to all the characters that are around, and it's like, which one would be the toughest to do? I would say I'd want a team book. That's for sure. I would probably want to draw X-Men like they were in the 80s and the 90s, or Justice League of America in the 70s and the 80s with those characters. Those are ones that I would kill to draw. Absolutely. If it's a singular hero, I don't think it wouldn't sell all that well, but it would be Nightcrawler because he's my favorite X-Man. Yeah. And as far as women are concerned, Jane Foster Thor. Okay. I love Jane Foster Thor. Oh my God, that is one of the that and when Jean Grey died was the only comics that I ever read that brought a tear to my eye. The only ones.
All right, cool. Fair enough. Nice.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Now I got some comparatives for you. All right, I got a couple of standard ones I always ask, and then we'll roll into the others. Godzilla or Gamera?
Pizza.
Okay. You're not into the kaiju?
No, I am. I Godzilla, of course, Godzilla. Yeah, I grew up watching the 50s movies and stuff like that with the really terrible miniatures, and even that cartoon, which incidentally had music from the Super Friends cartoon. I was like, oh wait, where's Superman? I hear the music, and it's like, and it's like, and then Godzuki's running around. I'm like, all right, that's enough. Godzuki. Man, thank God I wasn't on acid at that point. That would have really messed me up.
Batman or Captain America?
Oh God, I wish we saw a fight between the two of them. I'd say Batman.
Okay. Batman
because he achieved his physical perfection by sheer will. Captain America, even though he uses his strength and abilities for good, and it's the noblest intentions, was a panic. It was like a panic experiment because it seemed like the Germans were winning the war, and it's like we need to create something that's going to be unstoppable, And Steve Rogers was unstoppable, but something like that, absolute power corrupts absolutely. If Steve Rogers was brought up any differently, he'd be the Red Skull. You know what I mean? Batman is Batman for who he is.
Right.
And he chose that life, and he became that dedicated to be a master at 8 or 9 different scientific disciplines, peak physical condition even at his age, that he can defeat any Olympian athlete half his age at this point. Mm-hmm. He's the ultimate human being, and he's the leader of gods. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, Superman, what should I do? Go that way, Superman. You know, it's like a normal human is telling someone who can pick up a mountain range to go do that, you know, and Wonder Woman's hot for him. You know, it's like, you know, so it's like, ta-da, come on, man. You know, Batman all the way. Absolutely. As much as I do love Captain America, Batman all the way.
Fair enough. Kirk or Picard?
Oh, God, bloody hell. Kirk.
Okay.
Kirk, because he took the most risks. Picard was safer. He was more intellectual. Kirk was more instinctual. And sometimes his instinct didn't work, and Kirk learned from that. Picard, on paper, in my opinion, was the better captain because he was already more refined. He was more patient, and he was a lot older when he took over the Enterprise than James Kirk was. Picard was in his like late 40s, early 50s by the time he became the captain of the Enterprise. When James Kirk became the captain of the Enterprise, he was like 28. You know, that's unheard of. You know, no one under the age of 35 was ever a Federation captain of a starship until he showed up. You know, it's like, that's it. It's Kirk because he's the most human out of the two of them.
All right, cool. Dave Stevens or Adam Hughes?
Hughes.
Hughes, okay.
Hughes, absolutely.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wally Wood or Al Williamson?
Wally Wood. Thunder Agents. Oh my God, Thunder Agents. I remember reading Thunder Agents as a kid. Oh, that was, oh man, it was like reading a movie.
You know, it's funny. I've never read any of those books.
The Thunder Agents?
Yeah, I've never read not a one. You know, it's funny. I've read when they tried to relaunch it, and George Perez was doing some of the artwork. I read some of those, but I never read any of the originals.
The originals are fantastic. The ones that George Perez, I recognized the George Perez drawings because I was a fan of X-Men, but then I wound up with Teen Titans, and George Perez was drawing Teen Titans at that point, right around the Judas Contract.
Yep.
That's when I first saw. That's when I first saw George Perez's artwork when he was drawing the Judas Contract.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's a good one too. That holds up.
Yeah, it is. Well. It does. But his style has gotten maybe a little bit more. God rest his soul. His style got a little bit more elaborate over time, but it was essentially the same thing, really. You know, over the years. But then it was always so good. Right. You know, he didn't really have to change.
No. You know, and that's the thing. Like, there's some guys who we've lost that we know that if they were alive today and they were 20 years old, they would still be getting work.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like, forget about it.
George Perez would be paid like $1,000 per page at this point, you know, and it's like, to say nothing of what Neil Adams would get, you know, it's like, holy God, you know, it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, today's comic book culture these days, I don't know, because it's like a lot of, I'm not pleased with a lot of Marvel and DC books of late. You know, I don't know what they would do with I don't know if they would actually use any of these guys, because then they would have to like take over the entire company at this point, you know? I mean, maybe it's me, but yeah, the artists of yesteryear, with the exception of a few, are far superior than the ones that are out now, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just it. They're more stylistic. A lot of Marvel stuff is really stylistic. You know, it has relative proportions, but you know, I mean, George Perez and Neil Adams managed to make all of their drawings super dynamic and flowing and amazing to look at while maintaining human proportions. You know, it's like they didn't have a Rob Liefeld at that point, thank God. You know, so you know, but that's it though. Yeah, definitely Wally Wood.
Gotcha. Bone or Cerebus?
Oh God, Cerebus, only because I've only read a few pages of Bone, and I read a couple of issues of Cerebus. That's really it. I mean, I was superhero guy. DC sucks. They do, but yeah, it's like, yeah, I never got into it. I should have, and maybe perhaps I will, but
I got you. Yeah. Doctor Strange or John Constantine?
Oh, John Constantine. Really? Oh man, he is just. I read all this series of issues. It was put into a compilation, Dangerous Habits, where John Constantine finds out that he has terminal cancer. And he does a lot of effery all over the place, and he manages to trick the 3 Satans of hell to sell his soul. And it's like, what happens at that point is that like when John Constantine, he made a pentagram, and then he cut his wrist. He's bleeding to death, and all the Satans show up, and they're like, "Wait, what are you doing here?" Like, "No, what are you doing here? What are you doing here?" And it's like they're all there to take his soul, and it's like they can't split his soul, and the only one who would be able to absolutely take all of his soul would be God. So right. If God and those 3 Satans got into a huge fight, that would be the end of all existence. So and then John Constantine's still slicing his arm up. He's about to bleed out in about 10 seconds. Right. And they go to him and they go, "Okay, we're going to heal your wrists and cure your lung cancer. We're going to make it as painful as possible." Now, they didn't show it, but but the writer, I think it was Garth Ennis, they said, well, they ripped his rib cage open, threw it all over the place, pulled out his, they used magic that was like hotter than the surface of the sun to burn the cancer off his body, and like did the worst possible things to this man's body in order to heal him. He got rid of the cancer, but yeah, that hurt. So it's like a lot. And the one thing that he did, because he was the only mortal who tricked all of them. Right. As he gets up, he goes, nice talking with you fellas, and by the way, up yours. So he gives a finger to 3 Satans, and I'm like, all right, you're awesome. That's it. I'm done. Doctor Strange couldn't do that. He couldn't. He barely won against Wanda.
Right.
Who was a sorcerer for like a week. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm more powerful. I make people now, and I took over a town, but I need your help. Come on, enough.
Comic year, 1986 or 1991?
86. Okay. Crisis of Infinite Earths. Mm-hmm. The Judas Contract just finished around there. Oh God. Beta Ray Bill. Mm-hmm. Right around there.
Dark Knight, Watchmen.
Yes, Dark Knight, Watchmen. That's right. That's
John Byrne's run on Superman.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. That was the best year in comics. I actually bought comics other than X-Men those years. That was the best. They were the best years. Period. Absolutely.
So I get a lot of pushback on that one. Byrne or Perez?
Oh God. Both. There's no answer. It's like we talked about it before. I mean, Perez, because his stories had such rich detail in them. You could tell that it's almost a photographic memory that this man would used when he drew, and the detail and everything was so rich, and he was so expressive in his characters' emotions and how they reacted, and it was just so amazing. You could tell a George Perez drawing if you didn't look at another one for 1,000 years. Like, oh, I know who that guy is. John Byrne, because he drew some of the most pivotal comics ever published in the 80s. Because he drew X-Men. He drew the issue where Jean Grey died. And then he took over Fantastic Four for a bit. And then he took over Superman, and that was fantastic. He drew the Fantastic Four, which was an amazing run. God, what else did he do? And I don't remember any other series that he did after Fantastic Four that I know of.
Oh, he did a bunch of stuff. He did Wonder Woman, Alpha Flight.
That's right. Wonder Woman. She drew She-Hulk. which was great.
Mhm.
I love the fact that She-Hulk broke the fourth wall, and I kind of like the fact that she breaks the fourth wall on the TV show, and Hulk looks at her like, "What are you doing?" You know, it's just it's great stuff. And what else? You know, you can't go wrong with either of them. But if I really, really have to get into that, well, in the '80s, George Perez also, you know, he did the Judas Contract and Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, where do you go? You know, it's like they were both their best years was 1986.
Yeah,
their best years, and it's like you really can't choose.
All right.
That's why I'm like, both. Fuck it. You know, I don't need milk money this week. You know, the hell with it.
That's fine. All right, we've done a few of these. I'm gonna ask you a couple more, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right.
Paul Levitz or Jim Shooter?
Jim Shooter. Jim Shooter. He was 13. What was he? 12 or 13 when he wrote his first comic book story. Yeah. Oh my God! This man has forgotten more about comic book publishing and writing than I will ever know. Ever know. I don't care about his attitude with people. You know why he had that attitude? Because he knew what the hell he was doing.
Right.
You know, Marvel prospered when Jim Shooter was the editor-in-chief. The same thing with Valiant. They threw him away because all the other kids that were running the damn thing, they wanted to follow the way that Image was doing stuff. And Jim Shooter was right. It's like, we can't follow them. If we do, we're going to die. And guess what? You know, that happened. You know, Jim Shooter, absolutely 100% over Paul Levitz. 100%.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Bernie Wrightson or Barry Windsor Smith?
Bernie Wrightson.
Okay.
His Frankenstein illustration is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Barry Windsor Smith's great, you know, with his Conan run and his occasional X-Men issue, but no, Bernie Wrightson 100%. As great as Barry Windsor Smith is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. Backridge's campaign on Kickstarter, great artist, great guy. Yes, the link is in the show notes, so go hit it and buy yourself some books. They're an awesome looking book.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I hope this is funded. It would really be nice.
Yes, I mean, yeah. Let's get it there, man. I mean, you know, I'll hit you with this last question.
Okay,
Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Okay.
Cool. Grew up on Star Wars.
Did you see it in the theater?
I was 9 years old when Star Wars first came out in the theater. Mm-hmm. And I was in Staten Island, New York at that point, and Star Wars played in the theaters for over a year. Yep. I'm like, oh my God, this movie was still in the theaters.
And there were always lines. Always.
Yeah, there were always lines. And my Uncle George, who worked for a certain Italian company outside of, in Sicily, if you know what I mean, mm-hmm. He managed to be one of the first people in the United States to get the VCR cassette of Star Wars, which was $99.99.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God! it's $1 for a DVD at this point. It's like the
VCR player itself was $1,000. Sometimes when they first came out.
Yes, and they weighed like 100 pounds, and it's like you needed a special table to hold the damn thing up because it weighed a ton.
Yeah,
it's amazing. So funny how those things are, and now you can watch a movie like that on your phone.
It's
too much, man. Too much, really too much, man.
Richard, this was awesome, man. Thank you for coming on.
Dude, thank you.
Let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook under my name. Back It Now. Yes, Back It Now. Absolutely Back It Now, because it's an awesome friggin' book. You can find me on my Facebook page. Again, look for the black and white picture of me with sunglasses like I'm auditioning for Saturday Night Live or something. Look me on Twitter at Greystoke20. You can find me on my YouTube channel, which formerly known as The Richness. Now it's R. Perry Artworks. And that's it. You can find me there. You can see some of my older videos and how much fun I have with them. And and the Kickstarter for The Roaring, which has 14 days left. We're halfway there. And we're living on a prayer if you want to go back to 1986. So there you go.
There you go. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, it was awesome. Anytime, bro. You know you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Go check out The Roaring, and I'll be talking to all you guys soon. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you so much. Okay.